here. So if all are, I think, panelists are here, then can I start the session or you have some time? So if anyone, I think, is not here, he can join subsequently. So if you all, should I start immediately or? Thank you. Yeah, so I think let us start the session 2, that is industry leaders panel, key 6G use cases. So I am honored to have with us Mr. Robert Ravi, Chairman Managing Director, Bharat6G Alliance. I think with a big hand of applause, please welcome him. We have Mr. Ayush Bhatnagar. Mr. Ayush, are you here? So I think if he's not, then he will be joining subsequently. Mr. Sachin Mehta, Airtel. Welcome you, sir. Mr. Dilip Krishnaswamy, in place of Dr. Rajkumar Upadhyay, Mr. Dilip Krishnaswamy, Director of C. is here. So welcome. Mr. Jayanta Day from HFCL, the another company, they are doing lot of pioneering work in India. Welcome you, sir. Dr. Magnus our Bring from Ericsson, our old friend, please welcome. Dr. Anita Dollar, NGMN Alliance, I think, yeah, welcome. I thought I was searching. Please come. And Mr. Charles Santosam, Nvidia. Welcome you, and we are expecting a lot from Nvidia for India, and then we have to take it to word from India. So with this, I think let me hand over this session to the moderator or chair of this session, Mr. Robert Ravi. So sir, it's open to you to completely run this session. Yeah, can someone give the mics here? And all be agree because there will be certain questions and answers. So mic persons, someone be at the back also, because yeah, please give the mics right now on the dais, and subsequently you be ready for the question during questions answer sessions at the last. Someone back should support it. And I request the moment Mr. Ayush Bhatnagar joins. Sir, I think can you just see? So we will be doing the moment you call any name, their biodata will display on the screen. So as its moderator, you do not, introduce the panel. That is already displayed.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Rajpalak. I think it's a very, very wonderful session again. To be back on the 6G stage, we have been closely working on the 6G era, probably more than 6-7 months before joining in BSNL. So good to be again in the good steps of 6G. Now, today's session, I think, are really honored to have the round expert speakers along with us will be speaking on various aspects. There's no doubt when we talk about 6G, though the technology keeps evolving, the way, what type of spectrum is required, what is the bandwidth required, what is extra effort is required in 6G, etc. It is more the important parallelly the use cases of each of these needs to be evolving on its own. Any technology that has its use case parallelly evolved, when the standards and the technology comes in, becomes an easy winner. So with 6G, a focus area with the government of India also, we are all more keen and eager to try out even some of the 6G areas of what we say, step towards 6G use cases also. There is no harm in trying out such areas. So in this context, I think this panel discussion on 6G use cases is a very, very important. I think I request the panelists round, maybe you take few minutes, maybe 5-6 minutes, either a presentation or in form of a talk. You can quickly explain us what do you think are the key killer applications do you think that is really going to change, that is something different from what is not available in 5G. What is so different? And we always think about and we always talk about guided vehicle, automated vehicles, hepatic surgeries. Really, these sub 10 millisecond latency, is it really possible? What are the challenges facing us today? So if I would request the panelists to take a few thoughts on these points and come back and tell us what is the way forward for a country like India instead of going a number of use cases. Can we choose a particular area or a particular field? Maybe the government is also willing to spend maybe a few hundred crores on a particular project. If it is successful, we can take this forward. With these few words, may I call upon, maybe from my right, Sachin Mehta. I think we are the Airtel. I think you're having a lot of experience in radio planning, optimization. I'm very sure you'll be able to throw some insights on it. So on to you, Sachin.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think we are all awake, had a good lunch, and I think as rightly pointed out by Ravi sir that we keep hearing about number of Gs adding up. What value 6G brings in? Is it one more G or there is something beyond the broadband connectivity or the speeds which we are talking about? I think I will give you, I have my esteemed colleagues from Nvidia, HFCL, and from consulting firms. So I'm pretty sure that we have a good industry representation, and by this session, I think we will have a clear view as to how as an industry we are evolving towards the 6G evolution in next couple of years. I will just run you quickly through my slides. I think the key messages and a better understanding to place that, while the overall ecosystem is driving 6G, but more from an operator perspective, that what are the key challenges we want to solve, what are the enablers, what our operator needs from an overall 6G evolution perspective, so that the requirement is placed, and that is how as an industry consortium we evolve towards a deployable 6G, where we have a usable, monetizable use cases around, and it doesn't like continue like the 5G slow pitch which we are seeing today. So thank you very much. Honored to be here, and I'll start my session quickly. Okay. Overall, 6G vision, if I speak about, 6G vision is more about, accelerating human, physical, digital interface. This is where 6G will evolve, harnessing full potential of AI native. We have AI RAN, we are doing different trials today also in our AI RAN, but when we are talking from 6G perspective, it should be integrated, AI native, default embedded. We are looking at least 50% of our energy reduction from a sustainability point of view, with almost 10 to 20% of capacity gains as we move forward. Security becomes a very, very important aspect as we move to 6G. And that is where I think the quantum, this is AI in quantum era, where we will have to look at how to handle security, how to handle quantum crypto in this era of security. And last is, I think, exploring new use cases, frontiers in terms of how this overall ecosystem evolves. I will put up a telco expectations from 5G because I have all the colleagues, we have requirements of chipsets, affordable chipsets, modem sensors to drive this ecosystem. So from an operator perspective, I'm just trying to put up the clear expectations what we think. 6G as a overall should deliver beyond speed. It's no more about better speeds. It is about enabling, unlocking new values, about, as I told you, about human, physical, digital interlock. There should be we should think beyond connectivity. It is about monetization beyond the connectivity. Today, as we speak in 5G, it is more of better speeds, but the actual monetization is yet to happen, rather than some little bit of broadband which we have seen of late. 6G should be software defined on the existing deployments. It should not bring up, like when 5G SA was introduced, we had almost 7 to 8 new core nodes coming in. And this is where time to market got delayed. So 6G should be expandable on the current 5G deployable inventories which are already available. We should reduce carbon footprint, as I told you, around 50%, targeting 50% carbon footprint reduction for a sustainable go green from day one. Obviously, since it is higher mid-band, wide mid-band frequencies, though coverage limitations with higher frequencies are expected. We expect that it should come up with a better propagation models, coverage reach, while also adding up capacity, which any which ways will happen because of new spectrums coming up, higher bandwidths up to 1000 megahertz. But coverage remains a bigger challenge to solve as we go towards the higher mid-band frequencies. So from an operator perspective, I think the value comes in when as the complete ecosystem drives these pointers as an industry to help us achieve the 6G milestones, what today we are talking about. The enablers, if I quickly speak about that, what are the quick enablers? Of course, spectrum, we are expecting mid-band spectrum coming up in 6 to 15G. Interoperability between different vendors, this continues to be a challenge. Even today, there is no interoperability. The adapters are locked. It should open up completely, and it should the innovation should explode with ubiquitous connectivities between different OEMs coming up. Security by design, it should be zero trust. The system should be automated enough to handle quantum resilient security frameworks. The interfaces should be open and programmable. It should not be closed interfaces where the innovation gets blocked. And obviously, it has to be AI native end-to-end across RAN, core, transport ecosystem completely. The networks needs to be self-healing, self-optimizing. These are the enablers, I think, which will help push 6G faster. The key, from monetization perspective, the key use cases which will possibly unleash the value of 6G coming in is, obviously, it will bring in immersive experience, holographic communication, extended reality. All of this is going to be a reality in another couple of years as we have devices ecosystem building up. Ubiquitous connectivity is about existence of NTN, satellite and terrestrial networks together. It is about universal access of networks everywhere as we go. Digital twins which will help us from an industrial perspective in terms of how we will be able to track our equipments, manufacturing, smart manufacturing. I think one of the biggest value which we see is integrated communication and sensing, which will enormously unlock the monetization use cases from 6G perspective. IoT applications, smart port manufacturing is the value which we see which will bring us commercial ROI. Coming back in terms of how do we summarize top 5 expectations from telco perspective, 6G must be software plug-in. It should not bring up the complete scale of the new set of equipments coming. It should be faster time to market. The deployment should be pretty industry specific rather than ubiquitous deployments as we have seen in 5G. 5G is scaled up ubiquitously without actual industrial use cases coming in. But 6G from our operator's perspective view is that it should have a specific industrial use cases to deploy. It should open up new monetization opportunities, should help operators yield the commercial values coming out of it. As I told you, sustenance is very important. Go green, carbon footprint should reduce. AI native architecture should be embedded by day one. And then the open interfaces and interoperability. I think these are the key expectations from telco perspective where the entire ecosystem has to evolve together in terms of unleashing 6G values.
Thank you, Sachin. I think there was clearly summarized version from our telco, but how far is going to actually work on the actual integrities? We can go around and then probably come back again.
Yeah, sure. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I will be open to question answers once
Yes.
the panel is
I think the telcos put in their points of what is expected. Now we'll have to hear from the other panelists. I think next I request Dr. Anita, I think good experience of working with vendors, operators, even the society, how this technology should really be useful for the technology, for the society as such. Can you throw some more light? What exactly are the use cases?
Good afternoon. Does it work? Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. Good afternoon. So, thank you very much, Sachin, for this brilliant introduction, because I'm here representing the NGMN Alliance, Next Generation Mobile Networks Alliance. And NGMN Alliance is operator-driven, and I guess it's not a coincidence that our messages and statement are very much aligned with what Sachin just presented. The NGMN Alliance is operator-driven, exists already since almost 20 years. It was vital in defining 4G, 5G, and of course we started to work on 6G already a number of years ago. Currently, we do have around 20 operators. It's a global alliance, so spanning really across the different global regions, and around 50 vendors and academic institutes. So typically we work together, even though only mobile network operators are full members of NGMN. So since some years we started already to work on the 3 pillars, and by purpose, in any presentations I am delivering about 6G, I mention those 3 pillars because 6G will be built upon the flexible architecture we are introducing right now with 5G, with the disaggregated networks, with cloud-native networks, and of course also sustainability. So energy efficiency and other aspects of sustainability play a big role also in moving forward to 6G requirements. So naturally the 3rd pillar is 6G. So as mentioned, we started already in 2020 to build the first positions on 6G. In 23, we released the first publication about use cases, because naturally, of course, it is felt as an industry we should not start from the technology. We should start from the market demand and start from what would be a real value add compared to 5G, delivering 6G. And we grouped the use cases into 4 families. We also already 2 years ago started to analyze which of the use cases most likely can be delivered with 5G and what is really necessary on top of the fully rolled out 5G solutions to deliver those use cases. And clearly, of course, there will be use cases which will need different technologies. Isaac was mentioned already with immersive reality, with AI. Of course, there will be new demands with regards to the uplink, with regards to capacity of networks. But the main message we would like to transfer is we always need to have the customer in mind. So being it B2B, so manufacturing industries, vertical industries, or consumers, of course we need to deliver value to our customers. And therefore, the position right now is that whilst we continue to work on network evolution and the use cases are very much aligned with 3GPP, so we contribute to 3GPP, we feel, so the community feels that it's very hard to predict very specific use cases, at least in markets which are saturated. I understand that we are now in India, And it's one of the markets which is not saturated and has a high capacity demand. So of course we have different requirements in the different regions globally. And this is one, I would say, opportunity and challenge to move forward together, because we will need, and that's what we strongly believe in NGMN, we need to achieve global standards if we want to ensure affordability, interoperability, and continue the success of our industry. So, long story short, yes, we work on use cases, we work on the next network evolution requirements on NGMN. We are now assessing the impact of AI, not really surprisingly, the impact of AI possibly on the traffic modeling, so that's a big question mark. I don't think that we can 100% predict as an industry what exactly the traffic demand and uplink demand will look like in the future, but we need to start working on it now. We also start to work on migration scenarios, because one of the main requirements is that 6G should be backwards compatible with 5G, so it should be a build upon 5G, and that hardware upgrades should not be mandatory, or if there will be hardware upgrades, then we need a clear justification, either with regards to new use cases support, capacity support, energy efficiency support, or even also simplification of networks and operations, because that's another big challenge in the operator community, the complexity of managing different generations, of managing the networks we have right now in place, and network simplification, operational simplification is another strong requirement from our side. If you are interested, you can download, of course, all the publications we made from our website. And last but not least, I'm inviting every company who is part of the mobile network ecosystem and not yet an NGMN to join our efforts, because only together I think we can achieve global standards. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it's good initially insights into what, from the Alliance point of view, but that's very important, because unless we work together, we will not be able to reach what is the expectation of the operator as well as the user as well as the society. Now I think maybe request to Magnus from Ericsson to share his thoughts on it, whatever I asked the questions about. What do you think should be the key thing that is required in a use case scenario of 6G?
Okay, thank you. And allow me to take this top of my head. So, yeah, the ask is great. What are the 6G use cases? To answer it, I humbly argue is very hard. And even more so, I think it should be hard. Because we have to keep in mind now the very long time cycles we have in our industry. Let's assume 6G is commercial 2030. Now, let's assume it picks up at a rate similar to 5G. 2037, it may overtake 5G. 2042, it may be at its peak in terms of subscriptions. So in a way, we're being asked here, what do youngsters do on the internet 2040? And I can assure you, I don't know. And I shouldn't know. That's a key thing. But we, the community here, we need to prepare the networks. And we're setting a standard that then should support the launch in 2930. Fundamental thing we do then, as we now do study items in 3GPP, is to validate technology components that are mature by 2030 and as good as we can have them. Because then we have a baseline that is forward-looking, proved for coming applications. And that's a very, very important work to do now in the 3GPP process. That's one part. The other part we had here earlier, that's really to leverage and extend on the knowledge we get now as 5G picks up. I think India is so well positioned, 5G networks are good here, usage is picking up. the next few years, the industry will learn from the best 5G can do for users. Users being consumers, being enterprises, and public sectors. That knowledge should be refined in 5G, of course, and then leveraged into 6G. So, those two are two very fundamental parts, I argue. Having said that, what can we then envision on where, at least in the 6G era, we start with applications which are more demanding? Already today, there's no one arguing against AI. It is there and it will impact life. AI-based applications are important in 5G and it will be the bread and butter in 6G and onwards. AI combined with cloud compute and then linking those two together through the mobile networks. That will be so important. Wherever you are, you should have an application that can leverage the AI potential, leverage the cloud compute. And you will do it out and about, on the move, as well as home, as well in the office. So already our engineers are looking at how can we improve the network. That calls a lot for the uplink from the device to the network to be more potent. Similarly, XR-based applications will have a similar traffic pattern. We predict, say, in 10 years' time, 15 times more uplink traffic. The devices alone cannot accommodate that. We need to have more sensitive networks, better functionality to discriminate interference, etc. That work is ongoing and should go into the 6G standard. And then that kind of applications will continue to grow rapidly in the 6G era. So those are two big trends, I say. IoT, we're taking good steps in 5G. RedCap is just launched with 5G Advanced. Already, high-end providers of smartwatches use RedCap. That's just the beginning of it. It's a very different kind of IoT usage that is coming now and starting in 5G, leveraging in 6G. Ambient IoT. So IoT, which is very low powered, perhaps even charging itself from the radio waves, are slowly coming to the market. 2 years ago, here at the IMC, we showed a jumper which had an IoT device weaved into the fabric, and it charges itself from the radio waves. That's a collaboration with MIT, and I think it's a bit mind-boggling. Let's go 2033, 35. What if our clothes here would have a number of ambient IoT connections? No longer are we talking billions of devices, we're talking many, many billions of devices in our networks. 6G should be designed for that from the beginning. Then the digital airspace. I think it will slowly start in 5G, it will be leveraged in 6G. Joint sensing, ISAC is being mentioned many times. 2030 and beyond, we will be mature and start to spread that throughout, I would argue. So, I think lots of potential there. Exactly what will be hot 33, 35, we'll see. But the technology will be qualified and it will leverage on the knowledge that we're gaining now by using 5G in the front line. Thank you.
Okay, I think you put it correctly, Dr. Magnus. That is the way which we should also think about doing. Let us now move on to Dr. Dilip from CDOT. I think, can you give us a view about what is happening in the Indian ecosystem? What is the new research areas you're working, especially on 6G? And are we going to do a small trial, which I was just mentioning, which we can be, what I say, a stepping stone towards 6G's use cases, please.
Hello. Yeah. Thanks, Robert. And apologize, our CEO could not be here. Don't have a presentation, so I'll just speak. Many different things that we are exploring. I want to start with a mining use case that Hari Prasad and team actually implemented. And you know, the challenge was for a miner in K3 mine in Rajasthan to actually communicate to the surface. So, you know, we have ORAN-based 5G technology. So what we did was we put the CUD on the surface. And then we took an optical fiber down into the mine and let the radio unit start transmitting there. But still didn't reach the miner. There was a bend in the mine. And so we had to put a relay down there. And then finally, it reached the miner and he was able to make a video call to the surface. You know, and we are doing it with technology today, but now what if there was no service at the surface? You would need TN, NTN integration. You know, because of delays in satellite communications, hybrid ARQ is a challenge, and so packets are not transmitted reliably. And so how do we make all of that work? Those will be challenges, and we have to start looking at real use cases in India. One of the other projects that we are looking at is Drishti, Directional RIS for Hilly Terrains of India. What we're talking about is, can we have a reflecting surface on top of a hill? There are people living on one side of a hill. There's a river flowing by. They have no service. There's a cellular tower right next to on the other side of the hill. The signal is not coming. Can we reflect that signal down to the other side? And we have a working technology on that. Also, you know, essentially we're getting towards ubiquitous coverage, basically, trying to extend the coverages. But here, there's a tower, and we're extending the coverage a little bit. But you want ubiquitous coverage, you really have to go to space. And there, we are looking at elliptic orbits to serve India. We'll go into more detail tomorrow, but essentially, Elon Musk's orbits are circular. And you know, the dwell time is very short. We want a satellite configuration to serve India. So why don't we stretch that circle into an ellipse? And the Earth is at one of the foci. And then as it goes around, then it serves the country longer. So every country can do this. And we have a configuration, 28 satellites in elliptic orbits that can just provide coverage for India. But and as we go into space, you know, these satellites that we deploy, they may, the orbits can get perturbed due to the bulge at the equator or due to the sun and the moon. So they have to, you know, position themselves again. But, you know, the electronics is working, but, you know, you could refuel them. And so then after 10 years, if the fuel runs out, can you refuel them? So we're looking at not only just ISAC, but coordinated sensing and motion and communications. Because in space, a space vehicle that's going to refuel has to sense the other space vehicle, move towards it, and communicate with it. So we're not only looking at sensing and communication, but on a spacecraft bus, we would have a sensing subsystem, a motion subsystem, and a communication subsystem, all interacting with each other. So we have to go beyond just sensing and communication. But even with integrated sensing and communication, how do we, you know, let's say we want to integrate a radar with an OFDM radio. Can we null some OFDM subcarriers so that the radar can function with those resources and work together? And, you know, AI is here for us to work with. We are using LLMs for time series prediction. Predicting resources. LLMs actually have given output context window. That gives you future visibility. And that has helped us with optimizing when to turn off and turn on cells. That's working beautifully. But, you know, also as we, and this helps on the sustainable angle. But then when we use AI, whether it's, you know, in the stack or in the application, as we use GPUs from Nvidia, you know, what is the smallest form factor of the GPU that we can use for the application that actually makes a difference? You know, so we have to do, should not blindly use LLMs, but we should perform ablation studies, turn off portions of attention circuitry, and see which ones are really used in that application, keep only those circuits on for that application and so on. So, and you know, as we go further beyond, as we build these AI agents are all going to talk to each other. ORAN has done something beautiful. It has brought in closed loop automation with observability control. But all of these agents are all going to talk to each other. So an agentic AI formulation where these AI agents and other automated systems are all working together. How do we enable automation with visibility? And then we have to test these things. So digital twin models to you know, create arbitrary network configurations, and we have a capability called Avatar at CDOT, automated validation and test architecture platform. So you know, it will simulate different configurations and test it for you before you even deploy. So we're trying different things. Hopefully we'll make a difference.
Thank you, Dr. Kadeep. That was a good insight about what you intend to do in CDOT. I think next maybe invite Mr. Charles. I think he's a familiar person. Lot of experience from 2G to 5G. Now he's in Nvidia. Now he's driving the GPUs. We are already talking a lot about are we really into. There's a need to move your computing to the edges. How GPU is going to hack. There is also a talk about what do you think the roadmap for is the real AI native. What we are speaking today on the 5G SON, it is going to really change from from day zero in 6G, or something different is going to come. There are a lot of buzzes around the ML model drifting. Do you think ML model drifting or the energy bit, which is going to be actual important for automation? On to you, Charles.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. First of all, thanks for inviting me for this talk. As you mentioned, so AI is the buzzword, but how much is it real today, and what is possible in the edge? So there are several things that are happening, and Nvidia is in the forefront of some of these initiatives. So one of the facilitators for 6G is how do we enable ISAC with the AML framework and the data capture framework and the facility to enable various applications to run and perform their intended use cases, while the RAN provides the data at the speed that is needed. So within Nvidia, there is a framework called DApp and a data lake framework, where the physical layer itself can expose the data, whether it is IQ signal in the uplink, or it is the channel estimates that that the physical layer generates out of the IQ signals. So these two can be exported through an interface which is proposed in the ORAN standardization as a E3 interface for DApp. I mean, these two terminologies are still evolving and it's not fully standardized yet. So the DApp is a framework where you can collect such high-speed data, which is completely different from XApp or RApps, where the amount of data that you need to expose is in the order of minutes or in the order of seconds at the best. Whereas in this case, when we are talking about DApp, we are talking about exchanging all the symbols at 35 microseconds worth of data on the uplink for 100 megahertz bandwidth, send all of the data to the DApp. So which is a huge, enormous bandwidth that is required between the physical layer and the application that is going to consume this data. So it cannot be running somewhere else using a middle. You cannot send all those kind of the huge amount of data over the Ethernet link over a larger distances, or have a data center server running the applications remotely. So for such ISAC applications, you need to have co-located the GPU capability, where the physical layer, the G node V as a whole, is running in parallel along with the DApp, which whatever is the use case intended for it. So what we have done is we have reduced all the overheads in terms of interfacing between the RAN application DApp by enabling completely a memory-based interface, which is basically just use a shared memory between the two containers, expose the data to the DApp, and it is up to the DApp vendor to invent whatever they want in that application. So which means that, we will have a few demonstrations happening in the next GTC that's happening in Washington DC, where some of the defense players will be demonstrating how the DF framework can be used for sensing drones as well as human intrusion using this framework, which is running at 100 megahertz, 30 kilohertz subcarrier spacing kind of a model. So which is really not possible with remote data centers and so on. So that's where the compute becomes a lot more mandatory and becomes an essential part of the G0V system to be able to run the AI applications along with the RAN layer 1 physical layer functions.
Thank you, Charles. I think let us listen from Mr. Jain, I think from HFCL. Again, what are your company doing on the 6G front, especially on these cases? Can you please?
So first I'll start with 5G and then go to 6G. So we started the 5G unit within HFCL about 4 years back, and happy to say that two of our products, the FWA-CP and the routers, have been deployed in significant numbers with the leading operators in India. And as we speak, our routers are being deployed as a part of BBNL for the BharatNet Phase 3, which most of you know is for rural broadband connectivity. So that is what we have done so far. Now 6G, right now, we are more into contributing towards the standards development. We are part of TSDSI, also actively part of Bharat6G Alliance. Also, we are contributing to some of the studies, simulation results as a part of ITUR. So two specific areas we are focused on. One is on integrated sensing and communication, and on energy efficiency. So these are the two areas that we are focused on.
Okay, thank you. I think let me put up two very important questions to the panelists. I think quick, whoever can answer can pick up. And so suppose if the government comes up tomorrow and says, okay, we give you say 500 crores. What is the one good pilot project which we should adopt for a country that will lead to a 6G use case? Second important thing is, see, the lot of use case on 5G moving towards 6G is happening across the country, because the 5G already started, and then we think, okay, this will take off to 6G. In these projects, can we identify one or two key KPIs which the government can identify and say, oh, if you achieve these KPIs, I will give incentive in this project? So what do you think this two takes? Again, I can start from Sachin.
I think it's a very, very good question. And I think one use case which I probably think, it should be, of course, it should be ISAC integrated sensing. And the practical use case will be in terms of early flood warnings in our hilly terrains, northeast Himachal. We can, the other use case could be Andaman Nicobar or northeast, where we know our terrestrial fiber is limited. We are not able to, and the satellite bandwidths on VSAT is limited. Not able to give a broadband experience to the customers there. So it will be good to do a 6G pilot use case there. Overall, from an operator perspective, I think the measurable KPI will be, at least we should have 20 to 30% operational efficiency over 5G as a baseline, right? And the measurable KPI should be, I think, the bits per hertz and the energy optimization which we achieve.
Good, thank you. Dr. Anita, ma'am?
Yeah, I think it's hard to answer for a global alliance because the requirements are probably differing across regions. So I agree, of course, with Isaac, but then AI-related use cases or immersive experience, being it in B2C or B2B, are probably also promising. And what is most important, in my opinion, is that we collect user feedback early enough as an industry so that we are keeping on track and delivering real value to users, no matter whether they are business customers or consumers.
Thank you. Ignorance.
Okay, so I think application of IoT, industrial IoT, so much innovation ground to do there. Anyone who's already there will shape and lead for a long time.
Thank you. Dr. Dilip?
I think if you ask Nvidia, they will say just buy as many H100s and Blackwell GPUs and put it in a data center in Rajasthan. But I think ubiquitous coverage is really important. And although I was talked about reflecting surfaces on top of hill that can only extend coverage where the tower is, you really need satellite-based systems. So really, if you guys can bless the satellite-based configuration that we've come up with, and really, we are in 6G, we were only a team of 11, small team at CDOT, 11 engineers, but we can't do everything. So really need the ecosystem to work together to actually build a satellite configuration that will serve India, both civilian and strategic use cases. We don't have to rely on Starlink. So if we can fund that project, that'll be great.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to add on, it is the spectral efficiency which in turn converts to coverage increase. For example, if you can increase the coverage for a rural site by another doubling the distance, or integrate the NTN with the terrestrial network to provide an ubiquitous coverage. So that, number one, reduces the number of sites and towers required for the operator, and it provides the well-needed connectivity, ubiquitous connectivity within the country. So I think this is one of the key KPI that one should look for when there is an innovation happening, and when there is a funding available to improve in some of the areas.
So one of the use case, assuming we get the government funding, is which I think is really helpful, is around precision agriculture and precision farming. And I say this for two reasons. One is, as a country in India, 40%, more than 40% of the workforce is employed in agriculture. And one of the objectives of 6G is to deliver business value as well as societal value. And I think 6G can help in this. Like, for example, definitely one area, I think we talked about low power wide area network, which 6G can enable. So whether it is for soil testing, environmental testing, water management, all this can be done by a low power wide area coverage network, which 6G can provide. And then if you combine both terrestrial and satellite, that will also help to address some of the issues that we have. Because in an agricultural land, what you have, it's a wide coverage area, right? But you'll have lots of sensors out there, correct? So you do not need high bandwidth, like most of the other use cases we talked about. You need low bandwidth, and also you need this sensor to be not needing battery. So ambient IoT, which harvests energy from the environment, would be also important. So that's what I believe would be a good use case.
Thank you. I think quickly we can open the floor if anyone from the audience want to ask any question. Only one question is allowed. Yeah, please. Mic.
I think the main use cases in 5G is eMBB and fixed wireless access. So whatever use case in 6G, what the gentleman said, agriculture or public safety or utilities using LPWA is good one. But the main issue with the MNOs, not the verticals, is it has to generate revenue, economic value creation. So I don't know, is there, for the agriculture, is there a government subsidies from the India government, or in US there is an issue. So because we have, say, 20 million farms in USA, they don't have the money to deploy 3GPP networks, you see. So the economic value creation for the verticals is one of the main areas. Although we see the MNOs, their main use cases is EMBB and FWA, the verticals is TBD because of this economic value creation. Thank you.
Thank you. One more question I can take before we close.
Thank you very much. I'm Raim Tafizoli from University of Surrey 6G Innovation Center. It was very interesting to listening to all of you. It looks like there is no compelling use case for 6G from what it was said. But what was
can you speak close to the
mic? I'll repeat it again. It looks like there is no compelling use case from a user end point of view for 6G. But what was common between what you said, you talked about environment sustainability, extension of the coverage, ubiquitous coverage, etc. So if we focus on this aspect, shouldn't we go to lower frequencies rather than every generation we go to higher and higher frequencies?
Good. Thank you. I think I should thank all the participants, the panel, the panelists for sharing the knowledge. So just to give a recap from the Government of India side, I think for the audiences, we have been pushing aggressively on 6G, saying that at least we should also set the stage for 6G. Not specifically that we wanted to really do it for standardization for 6G, it's also our own internal need, so that 6G can really change the way of life for the people, both in urban and rural. With this interest, I think the Government of India has invested close to 250 to 260 crores on various research projects that is currently happening at more than 115 or 120 various educational institutions. These varies from whatever we were speaking about, from intelligence surfaces, from low-value devices, from sensors. As we speak today, the research is going on in these areas. I am very sure the country will move forward in this 6G and we will be able to really give a clear roadmap in the years to come. And thank you once again. Thank you, Rajesh, for giving us the opportunity. Thank you.
I think just as a last, please give the mementos to all the speakers. I invite my chair, Professor David. Sir, आप दीजिए, पहले आप रॉबर्ट साहब देंगे सबको, and आपको देंगे हम. I just request then, can you just settle for the next session? Please do. So we have the next session on enabling 6G technology, and we'll just take 2-3 minutes just for settling down. I request hall manager to please change the names. क्या हुआ भाई? क्या हुआ?